Another edition of Social Media News Live. And Grace went away as soon as we started the show. Don't know why that happened, but her husband, there she comes. She was rewiring the house, or her husband was, and I don't
I don't
know.
have,
Yeah, your husband, you got to quit tinkering with all the wiring. I mean, that's the thing.
did you hang up on me? Oh my
No.
gosh. Okay.
So anyway, want to welcome you guys to the show. By the way, we got Janet Murray in the house, and we're gonna have a lot of fun with her. We got to hang out with her at Podcast Movement, and I was so excited to have her back on the show. So make sure you ask your questions. She is super smart. She had me over one time in London for one of her things, and we had a blast there. So make sure you ask questions today, and
Yeah.
also
I had to cut down our questions. Like I had 50 more questions. And
right.
when I sent this to Jeff, I was like, these are too many questions, isn't it? He's like, well, and then Jeff gave me another like 10 more. And I'm like, okay, so get
Yeah,
your questions in. Otherwise, I'm just going to take up the whole show
that's
and
right.
hog Janet all to myself because that's what this show's all about
Is Grace hogging
is
every
me
guest?
hogging our
Right. Want to
guests.
give a shout out to our friend, the Brian Farrell. He says, "Good evening, lovely people. Forgive my recent absences, but it's been very busy wedding season."
It's
Well,
wedding
you
season.
know you're busy. We understand, Brian, but we are so glad that you are here with us today. And we've got the amazing Jim Fuse from Fusion Marketing over on YouTube saying hello. Jim was with us also at Podcast Movement. And if you missed that episode, make sure you guys go back and watch it because we had all sorts of people there live from Ecamm's booth talking about all things podcasting. So Jim is an excellent podcaster as well. So let's see. Before we get started, let me go ahead and get everything ready. Are you ready, Grace Duffy?
I am ready,
All
Jeff
right.
C.
Here we go. Let me see why Amazon is not working for some reason. Um, all right, we'll just start the show anyway. All right, here we go. And hello, folks. Welcome to Social Media News Live. I'm Jeff C., and you're not.
And I'm Grace Duffy, and this is the show that keeps you up to date on what's happening in the world of social media. And on today's show, we've invited the brilliant Janet Murray to teach us all about building a content marketing strategy. We're going to talk about content planning, especially as we start thinking about the next year and going into the holiday season. We're also going to talk to her about content templates because she rolled out or launched a content planner and kit. So we're going to talk to her about how do you use content templates such as the one she's providing and still be true to yourself, your voice, your brand, and not feel like a copycat. And we're also going to explore what type of content you need for each stage of your marketing funnel. And she shared some incredible, that's what I love about Janet is she tells you everything. And she shared some incredible stats about her launching this product. And we're going to dive into what content she used to promote her content marketing planner. So Janet, we're so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me, which I said before was very, very British. I should think of something else to say.
No, that's really good. You elevate the show. Like when we have you and Ian on, it just takes the show to another level with me from East Texas. It's like, wow, it's like, Beauty and the Beast. But here we go. So if you guys don't know who Janet is, let me introduce you. She is a content marketing expert. She's an author. She's a podcaster and keynote speaker. She speaks worldwide about building online audiences and has taught thousands of coaches, creatives, and entrepreneurs how to create engaging content. Now, she's planned and executed hundreds of digital product launches from one-off ebooks and masterclasses to complex online courses and memberships. She's the host of the Courageous Content Podcast. It's hard to say for some reason. And she just launched her 2023 Courageous Content Planner and Content Kit. So this is going to be exciting. So I'm so glad that you're here. If you're not following Janet, you need to make sure you go to her podcast and subscribe to that because that really helps podcasters out, and leave her a rating and review because that is super important for
Yes.
podcasters. But she's got a great show, so make sure you check that out.
Janet, how many years have you been publishing your content planner and content kit?
So the first one was 2017. I'm just looking around to see if I've got it on my desk. But conveniently, I haven't. So 2017, it was one of those ideas that you have an idea in that kind of entrepreneurial way where you think, oh, wouldn't it be good if we had a content planner and it had all these awareness days and key dates? I just kind of did it and published it. I pre-sold it, which it might be helpful to talk about later. I still never print the planner until we've sold enough to make sure we can cover the printing costs. So it's always pre-sold. We had our pre-order week last week. And yeah, it's a content planner, and it's aimed to help entrepreneurs, coaches, creatives to save time on their content and to get more consistent. But it has developed a lot. It's got a lot better since 2017. I've added new features. We've got the layout. I can show you the layout. I can see 2017 down there. It's improved a lot, and really based on customer feedback and customer questions, and the whole content marketing thing, trying to solve people's problems. So this year I'm really excited about it, because I think last year we really cracked the layout and the internal part of it, and this year I think we've really we've added a lot of features that I think will make it even better, and I think I've finally managed to crack one of my customers' biggest problems, so we're very excited about that.
Oh my gosh. Well, we're excited. So I think we've invited you because Jeff and I have been live streaming for about that long, since 2018. So I think we've invited you on every single year around this time, because as I was researching the show to see what we've asked you in the past, there was one for each year, and it was always around this time when your planner was launching. And I guess this is kind of a big question, but over the years, since 2017, what have been the most significant changes or evolutions? You said you cracked this big problem that your customers are facing. What has been like the most significant changes you've seen over the years? Was it live video, shorter content?
So I think for me, the problem I've always been trying to solve, which I promise is linked to your question,
Yeah.
is there was a lady a couple of years ago, and hand on heart, it used to annoy me a bit, because people would say, why isn't your planner full of pre-written social media posts? So they'd buy it and it had like thousands of awareness days and key dates and prompts. And I used to say to people, well, I could write you 365 social media posts and that would be easy, and I could charge you a load of money for that and you'd be happy, but it wouldn't work because your business or brand is different to everybody else's. And it used to frustrate me that people couldn't see that. But obviously as entrepreneurs, our job is to try and solve problems and not to sort of just be frustrated with people and try and think, okay, well, where's that person coming from? Like, why do they feel like that? I think the thing with content is that, I don't know why it is, but a lot of people don't really appreciate how much skill is involved. So I was a journalist before, so although I wasn't creating social media content, I was a professional content creator, so I had an understanding of creating content for a specific audience and tweaking that content and testing and looking at the analytics and looking at what was working and wasn't. But people start businesses, they post a few times on Facebook or Instagram, and then they get frustrated quite quickly, in a way that maybe they wouldn't get if they tried to do their accounts or something. They'd understand that maybe they needed to pass that on to an accountant. So, but at the same time, I felt a bit frustrated because it's like, well, this is a job. People get paid to create content for a living. You can study it as a degree. Like, there's different types of content that you have to get really good at. But it really stuck with me, this experience of this lady was like so upset. In fact, it wasn't the lady, it was her sister that was like really outraged. And we were trying to explain that, it wouldn't help your sister in her business if, she was posting the same as other people. Like, there's got to be some understanding there of content and audience, whatever. But it really stuck with me. And I saw other people out there selling content templates and I didn't like it. And I've actually bought a lot over the years just to see what people create. And it just didn't sit well with me because, again, it's like if it's not tailored or it can't be tailored to your business or brand, it's just not going to get you results. So I've been working this year, and actually short form video helps. So when I said, it is relevant what you just asked, I started creating templates for people to help them make Instagram reels and TikToks. And I realized that one of the biggest barriers to making them is just not knowing where to start, not knowing where to finish, not knowing what to do in the middle. And so I started just creating these little 30-second, almost like fill in the gaps templates. And what it did was it gave people like a framework to start with. So they're like, okay, I'm going to use this, I'm going to fill in the gaps, I'm going to create my little script or whatever. And then they do a few with my templates, and then they'd be like, okay, now I feel a bit more confident, I can do my own thing. So this year I've been experimenting with these fill in the gaps templates that can be adapted for any business. I've tested them with all my clients and got all their feedback, and it works. They can be adapted to any business, any brand, product or service based business. You still get some people who they need a little bit of education, and why wouldn't you? Because again, content marketing is a skill. You've got to practice. You've got, you can't just expect to start a business and know it. So the planner this year has got. I did a couple of bonuses. We did our pre-order week last week, but one of them was an awareness day training. So it's an audio. I've put all my trainings onto audio now, but they get an ebook and audio, and they can all be done within an hour. But there's a training on awareness days and how to actually take awareness days and key dates and turn them into content. I always joke that I could take any date, however silly it sounds, and I could turn it into content that would be sensible. Because it's just knowing how to do it. There's a process. And the other thing, which I hope we'll get to talk about, is cash generation content. There was also an insight for me that, again, it's this common story. People start a business, they get online, they post on Instagram, they post on Facebook, and they're like, oh, it's not working. I haven't got any clients or sales. Nobody's responding to me, and trying to solve that problem. And something I realized as well this year, I don't think I've ever had so many people come to me who've paid for expensive coaching programs, who don't know how to get a client, who don't know how to create that very basic content. I was a freelance journalist before, so I used to have to pitch ideas. So I knew how to get work. I knew how to approach people. I just kind of had to work it out. And so I've kind of figured out, that also that it's all very well teaching people about social media, but actually if they haven't got the foundations in place and they don't know how to reach out to somebody to offer their services, if they don't know how to set up a meeting, it sounds really obvious.
Right.
There's a phrase that I use, which is a horrible phrase. It's probably not as horrible in the US, but it's like people kind of fannying around on Instagram or Facebook and just spending, far too much time. Like, I'm a content person. I love creating content, but I know that if I needed to bring money into my business today or tomorrow, that's not the kind of content I would prioritize. So this year's plan has also got my cash generation content kit. So it's a very specific content kit and a training that includes fill in the gaps templates for that type of content. So we can talk, we've got time, haven't we, probably, to talk about these 3 types of content. Right. But I felt like there was a bit missing. And somebody said to me, don't you think business coaches should be teaching this? And I was like, well, yeah, but they're not. So I think there's loads of problems I've been trying to solve, but one of them is this business of, like, somebody said to me once, if somebody would just tell me what to post, where and when, if you could just tell me what to post, where and when, then that would be great. So I've been trying to solve all of these problems, trying to also make people aware that, spending all your time on Instagram or creating email lead magnets may not be the best thing at times when you need to bring money into your business. You need to know how to create that kind of content that brings money fast. So I know I'm speaking 10 to the dozen, and but I hope you're getting the idea.
Well, so yeah, I think it's so. There's a lot there, and we're going to unpack a lot during the show. But you talked about video content, and you talked about how important that is in short form, and we'll get into that. But I thought that was a perfect way to talk really quickly about our sponsors of the show, which is Ecamm, because they allow us to create amazing content. You can find out more about Ecamm if you go to socialmedianewslive.com/Ecamm. They are sponsors of the show, so helping them out helps us out. Yes. And by the way, they also have a really, really cool thing coming up called Leap Into Podcasting. They've done Leap Into Live for many, many years, but on the 29th and the 30th of this month, they're doing a 2-day interactive virtual summit, helping you become really proficient and getting started with Leap into video podcasting. If you go to leapintopodcasting.com, you can find out more about that. Grace and I will be speaking at that event. I believe we're speaking on the 29th, I think. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just
the
made
29th.
Okay.
And we talk about having guests and how we get guests like Janet Murray to join us on the show, and then how we hopefully treat them very nicely. And
there is a secret to getting good guests, and we're going to talk about our show flow, how we do this dance behind the scenes that you guys don't most of the time. Once in a while it breaks through. But there is a dance that Grace and I do, and we're going to share our little secrets on how to produce a live show. So make sure you go to leapintopodcasting.com to find out more about that and to sign up. And don't forget to go to, if you want to know how we're creating the show, I use it to produce, Amazon videos, all sorts of stuff, but Ecamm's an amazing tool, socialmedianewslive.com/Ecamm. So as we get deeper into the show, I want to know from you guys in the audience. I see Sabrina's there. Hey, Sabrina. Gary Stockton watching from Huntington Beach. I want to ask you guys, like, do you guys struggle? Because I know I do with the, the daily grind of creating these social media posts. Like Janet said, like so many people go like, I just want to know what and when and where. And that sounds like it's an easy question, but there's a lot that happens with that. So are you guys frustrated with, no, Gary thoughts our dance with the Macarena. You don't want to see me do a real dance,
No.
Gary. But do you guys struggle with planning? I know Sabrina is an incredible social media content creator and producer. Do you guys struggle with it, this trying to get new clients in? So let us know down below, wherever you're watching, in the comment section. But we want to talk about this creator, content planner that Janet has got, this courageous content planner and content kit. There's so many C's in that. But so before Grace goes into her questions, I wanted to ask, I know you print this out. You mentioned you're going to make sure you sell enough to print it out. Have you ever played with a digital version? I know you have digital products. Talk about why you went with a physical book, because I think that's really, really interesting.
So, and by the way, is my sound okay? Because I realised halfway through that my podcast mic was plugged in.
It's fine. You're good. Yeah, it's good enough. Yeah.
I've got one here to show you. So we do have a digital version. Actually, this year people get the digital version as well. But I just think there's something I so happen to have one here.
Oh,
can you see that? And I think people really just like. Well, there's a certain type of person that really likes the real,
right.
thing, and it's bounded, and I'll just show you some of the inside pages, the monthly pages, and the what have you. So there is a digital version of it as well, and everybody who gets it this year does get a digital version. But I just think, I don't know, there's something nice about having something to write in, isn't there?
Well, it also opens flat. I like that it opens flat on your desk. You don't have something that, it's hard to keep open.
Yeah, and I have to say as well that I don't write in mine that much, which is a whole other topic, because I do use it every day, but some people say, oh, well, I don't use planners. I've tried using planners before. But what I always say is that, like, getting value out of a planner is not about how much you write in it, or, it's about, do you get the outcome that you need? So some people write in every page, like some people send me beautiful pictures and they've written in every bit and they've got lovely handwriting. Other people like me will use it more as a reference. Other people will use it in combination with the digital and a notebook. And for me, it's just about what's the the outcome. But there's just something really nice about, this is the last year, so it's different, about having a nice product. And from a kind of branding point of view as well, so we have an event. Funny you should mention Ecamm, because Ecamm are our sponsors for our live event in Newcastle, which is in the north of the UK, in November. And we always launch the planner at the event. So when we have 4 cover choices. If you look on my Instagram, you'll be able to see the cover choices. We have a whole thing, and I know Grace was asking about the launch process, where we get the community to vote. We put out 8 cover choices. We get the community to vote, and then they vote on their favourite 4. And so everybody gets their planner. If you come to the event, you get your planner. You're the first to get it. Everybody turns up like, oh God, I got my planner. So I think there's something quite nice from a branding point of view as well, about having a physical product.
That's awesome.
Sorry,
So, and by the way, you've got some people who agree with you. Brian says you can't beat the tactical feel of using a pen and paper. So, what I do is, I'm a nerd, is I'll take a digital planner and I put it on my iPad, and then I use my Apple Pencil to write. So that way, because I like to collect information, because I used to have Post-it notes everywhere, because I like to, I'm very visual. And this is a way that I can, capture everything. So I love that you're giving away the digital version with the planner for this year. That's really cool. And by the way, if you want to find that planner, make sure you just go to, we'll flash it up on screen here at janetmurray.co.uk. And there's a code for that, correct? That you can put?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can, I think you've got the link to go straight to the page, but you should be able to find it. So it's Social 50. I would totally advise you, if you're going to invest in it, is to get the cash generation bundle, because you get planner. We will say it, we send them all over the world. You get the digital version, so exactly that, you can use it on a tablet if you want to, and you also get my cash generation content kit and all the templates and training, and you also get the awareness day kit, and there's also fill in the gaps templates for the rest of the year for social media posts. So there's a heck of a lot of stuff in there. Basically, like, you're set up to succeed. But there's £50 off. I'm not very good on my conversions, but I think it's a third. Basically, it's a third off if you use that code. And that's just, you know, for people who are watching this show. And that's the cash generation bundle, which includes the planner, but all the other lovely stuff as well. So you're basically getting it all free if you use the code.
Okay.
So yes.
So that is social50 is the code. So you guys write that down. If you had a planner, you could write it down in the planner. But that's what you need. You need a planner.
And that's Janet Murray, and I'm going to spell it Murray. janetmurray.co.uk. Just make sure you spell that right, because as I was researching this, I had to make sure I spelled her name right. So
because there is another Janet Murray out there who's like.
Who's also publishes things. We're not going to talk about her because she's not the focus today. But anyway, no, it's very clear once you hear Janet's voice and you see her on the live, which is which. But anyway, just want to make sure you guys are buying the right products at the right place. And yeah, so you said that Brian had a question, Jeff?
No, Gary had a question. So he when we asked the question, you know, what you struggle with social media posts, and he said when not to post to, and his company halted social for the Queen's death. And we were actually talking with Janet before the show, because she's based in the UK, and she actually put a post out about that. Can you just touch on Gary's question a little bit, Janet, how to handle stuff like that?
Yeah, so we were talking before, because I was a journalist for 17 years or something before I fell into what I do now. So it's definitely my kind of background, and sort of crisis comms and things. So I've put out quite a lot of posts. I was saying to Grace, that's why I was quite busy getting to the live, because I've put out loads of content about this. So obviously it's a big thing in the UK, and people can have very strong opinions about it either way, although British tend to be quite polite over these sort of things. But my feeling and my advice would be is that there's a protocol, and at first everybody's panicking, and there's supposed to be a blackout for 10 days or whatever, but the whole protocol was created in a time when we didn't have social media, and when we didn't have online businesses or businesses that were open 24/7. So I think we have to kind of feel our way through it, and my thing is always about really clear communication. So one of the things I did today was I posted something I call a positioning statement. I've got a post about it on Instagram. It's the last post that I did, where for some businesses it isn't practical. I have international customers all over the world. Somebody in my team said to me this morning, "Do you think we should close the inbox?" I said, "Well, no, because we've got customers from all over the world who, for them, it's not like it is for us, and we can't just ignore them or say, sorry, we're going to shut up shop till next week." So for me, it's just about communicating really clearly. So I put a positioning statement out on my page where I said we have stopped our normal, our normal activities. The only kind of content I have posted apart from this, and I actually mentioned this in my positioning statement, is kind of advice for people on what to post and how to manage it. But we've stopped all of our normal stuff, if you like, and we will take a view after the weekend. But we've been through enough of these kind of unprecedented events, if you like, recently to know that the world can't stop. Things happen that are unfortunate and upsetting, and people do react differently to them. So we've got to be sensitive, and we've got to take that on board. But at the same time, people have to live, and they have to run their businesses. So it's kind of a fine balance. So I always feel it's just important just to communicate that really clearly. So I posted on my page to say, look, this is what we have done. We've stopped our normal activity. We'll take a view at the beginning of next week. Our sales activity, we've paused our ads as well, because I kind of think it is a little bit insensitive for me to suddenly pop up in someone's feed, talking
Right.
about my lead magnet or whatever. And this show, I thought about it this morning. I thought, well, and I mentioned it in my post, like the host of this show are from the US. Like, do I want to let you down at the last minute, having already let you down? they won't mention this. They won't mention what happened before. But would I want to let you down at the last minute unnecessarily? So I just explain that on my page. And for me, it's just about being open. And I've explained, that our inbox is open at our normal hours, and people can get in touch with us, and this is the reason why. And so for me, it's just about being really clear and explaining. I think when people get upset about things, I certainly know in the pandemic, I saw a lot of people who didn't run businesses, didn't realize that was the only way that people could survive. And it's okay if you're furloughed by your employer, isn't it? So for me, it's just about communicating.
Yeah. Well, and also I think, I've been in digital marketing for a very long time, as have you and as has Jeff. And I think over time, social media has become less immediate, right? So because of the algorithm and the weighted timelines, I'm seeing posts from 2 or 3 days ago that probably I'm seeing them today. And, not that I've seen anything inappropriate, but you also have to remember that if you're posting something today, someone may not see it for another 3 days when the world has moved on. Not that this is something to move on from, but when it comes to big events.
Yeah. And we have to remember, I said about one of my clients today in my membership group said, oh, like, what are you talking about? Because I posted something in the group saying, does everybody want to go ahead with something that was happening? Do you all feel comfortable? Let me know if you don't feel comfortable. And she's like, what are you talking about? Is that the queen thing? And that's the thing we've got to appreciate, I think, that not everybody, depending on where you are in the world and the context for you. And some people are anti-royal as well.
Right.
We have to be respectful of, we have to, as Brits, we're respectful of that. But for some people, it can be quite a divisive issue. So I think we've just got to be sensitive, and we've got to be kind. And for me, it's just about communicating, explaining why you're doing what you're doing and when you're doing it. And that's always the key for me.
That's a great.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about this content kit real quick before we move on to the next section, because these stats are phenomenal. So Grace, talk about these.
Absolutely. So this is something that Janet shared on Twitter, and I saw it on Facebook, and I think you might have shared it on LinkedIn. So this is out there if you want. Find her on her profiles if you want to see it. But I'm going to go over these stats real quick. You said that overall conversion rate was 6%, and the average for digital products is 1 to 2%. I don't know if people realize that the conversion rate for digital products is rather low, and so that's why you do a lot of promoting. But this reached 6%, which is quite phenomenal. Your Facebook ad spend went down significantly. You said that it was 12,000 pounds last year, and you only spent about 2,000 pounds this year. And then your affiliate payouts were also counted for 1% of revenue. You had a small band of planner customers who already knew and loved the product and were promoting it for you. And then you also, these are the two things we wanted to talk about. Your waitlist conversions were 31%, the highest conversions ever, and expected to rise once you've removed some duplicate contacts. And then you had 55% of your sales came from your email list. And if your jaw hasn't dropped listening to this, it should. Pick it up, because we're gonna ask you how this happened. And then you said that you marketed it to 9,000 of your 27,000 wait list, and you are going to share some upcoming reports and debrief. So we want to talk to you about this wait list of 31% and this 55% of sales through email, because a lot of people haven't really gotten email going. And then this idea of a wait list, it's like, how do you build a wait list around a product that isn't there? Of course, yours has already been proven and tried, but what about something that hasn't been proven, something that's brand new, an idea? So talk to us about how you grew such a reliable wait list, and also how we can too.
Okay, so I could talk about this for hours. I wasn't very good at maths at school, but I absolutely love geeking out over stats and conversions, as you can probably tell, and that's probably part of it. So I think the key thing is, like lots of people, when I launched my very first digital product, I remember I sold 13 and I was devastated, right? And then thankfully for me, I learned that the average conversion rate for online sales was 1 to 2%, which was amazing. I can see my accountants here, funnily enough. At maths at school, like I'm sure he probably wouldn't be so impressed with my attention to my accounting, but I certainly I have a lot of attention to conversion and stats. But anyway, so I sold 13 of my first online course. Thought that was terrible. When I looked at the conversions, actually, I had converted about 2%. But the problem was, I don't know if anyone remembers this, but at the time, people were selling all this stuff like Jeff Walker's product launch formula.
Yeah.
And the trouble is that, I mean, we should know this. We're intelligent people, but I think there's so much out there that's brainwashing us about, earn 6 figures overnight or whatever, that we forget that we're not as experienced as those people. We forget that we don't have the same Facebook ads budget and we are expecting the same results. So luckily I kind of caught onto this and I just cracked on and just built my email list and learned about conversions and all that kind of stuff. So the thing for me that makes the biggest difference to digital product launch sales, so we sold 555 units, if you like, in a 7-day period of quite a relatively low price product, because we did a launch price. I think a lot of people, until they try and do it, if somebody's tried to do it, they will know how hard that is. But unless somebody's tried to do it, they and sold 5 or 13 like I did, they don't know how hard it is. But it really is it's very hard. It's not impossible, but it's just about being strategic about it with your content. So I talked before about having the 3 types of content: the audience growth content, nurturing content, and cash generation content. So the key thing with doing a big launch like that is a lot of people just think about their cart open week. So think about that 7 days or 9 days that they're going to be selling. Because I've had quite a lot of experience, I know that the most important period for me with the planner launch is the audience growth period. So I'm growing my audience all year round because I've got a podcast. And so there's a few things that I'll do. But in the run up to the planner launch, if you look at my podcast episodes, they will, the content will get more focused on content planning and content strategy. And, should you use content plan? It's quite strategic. But the other key thing is this wait list. So if you just rock up and say, if I was just rock up and say, hey, I'm selling this planner on the Monday, then you haven't built up any excitement. You haven't built up any buzz. You're just kind of almost like launching it on people, if you like. But if you can get people involved in the process, excited, they're on the wait list, they know that if they take action early, they're going to get a great discount or bonuses or whatever. So what we do, which I touched on earlier, is, so first of all, we get people involved in the product creation. So my planner has, we usually start off in about July with 8 cover choices, and we get people to vote on their favorite cover choice, and that's how we whittle it down to the final 4. So that's quite nice because people are involved and they're excited and they're wanting to see whether their choice gets through. And this year we tried, because it's all about experimentation, we ran a competition. And so if people entered if people voted, they could be entered into a competition to win some goodies and tech gear and whatever. Interestingly, so we did that in August. So we normally do about a month of list building before we opened our sales on the 29th of August for a week. Interestingly though, I did like a very specific email lead magnet, which was specifically designed to build like a wait list for this particular product, which was these fill in the gap templates. And I'm not joking, they're on a Google Doc. and it was just a little post that we did on my Facebook page, and people really, engaged with it and they liked these templates. So we put, the thing about ads as well that I've learned over the years is that, just paying for ads is not going to get you great results. Like, the content's got to be good. It's, so actually turning something into an ad that's already doing very well, is the best strategy. So we just turned a few of those posts into ads. So by the time we opened our sales, I'm so geeky about this, we had 813 people on the list. And these were people who put their hands up and said, I'm interested in this planner. They knew that they were going to get a 50% discount and it was only available during pre-order week. They knew they were going to get these bonuses that wouldn't be available during that week. There was also the buzz about the cover. I think I've still got to do some of the analysis, I think the conversion rate will be higher than 31% when we look at it, because you know what it's like with email lists, you get duplicate
Right.
contacts. So once we've taken those out, so yeah, I mean, if you're starting a launch with 831 people who've put their hand up, said are interested, we all know what people are like. They put a name on wait lists and whatever. I can already tell, I haven't crunched all of the numbers. I've still got a bit more analysis to do, but I can already tell that the freebie lead magnet did better than the competition, which is interesting. And it's with lead magnets, it's really important that the lead magnet really links well to the product. So yeah, the waitlist strategy is about, you know, if you can start your launch with a load of people who've already put their hand up, they literally, I don't know if you saw, Grace, any of the screenshots that I showed of my inbox, you know, with all the orders coming in. So it's about buzz, but it's also about getting really qualified leads. And interestingly, again, geeky report coming out on this, the better quality leads you get, the better, you know. So we actually started, more geeky stats, last year we started with 1,300 on our wait list. This year we only had 813, but we converted so much better because they were better leads. And if you think about that long term and other products and services people might invest in. So anyway, I'm probably getting a bit too geeky now, but you get
no. Like, you understand that we're all just like, I'm like, how do I take notes and also listen and produce on this show?
Yes. So I've got some, I want to ask some questions about that. So you've talked about, you know, having high quality leads and how important that is. And I want to know what is the, you know, what is the best type of content for lead generation? Because you mentioned freebies, and a lot of times people say freebies, you know, people are just signing up to get the free thing. They're trying to get the free iPad that they're going to have a drawing for. But you said something I think that was key, was that it ties into the product. And so can you talk about the importance of that freebie, which you said did really, really well, better than the competition kind of thing that you had running? What are your insights on that, on creating this, you know, what, like, do you do TikTok posts that talk about, you know, this freebie? I mean, what kind of content, like, is the most effective for lead generation?
Well, interestingly, I get so excited about this, but interestingly, the best performing post, I think, I need to go back and have a look, but the best performing post was a text-based post on my Facebook page, which just said, hey, I did a few different ones, but do you want 24 fill in the gaps social media posts for next week? And I created them for you, like, because we use a messenger bot to deliver our lead magnet. Post below whatever it was, post freebie below whatever it was. I can't remember what the keyword was. And it was a text-based post. It took me about 5 minutes to write. And you know, sometimes when you're like, the things that take you ages to do it, they don't work as well. But it was literally like a text-based post. But of course, I don't just do it once. One of the things that I'll publish when I do the report next week, and this would take people's breath away, I think, is how much content and how many emails we send as well, which could be, you know, something that we could talk about as well. You know, you've got to be prepared to post far more content than you feel comfortable. It needs to feel about, I think, for you to feel. So interestingly, that was that text-based post, but, you know, in the past there's been videos. But I'll give you 2 examples of lead magnets that I've done for this planner. For me, with lead magnets, having a lead magnet, unfortunately, is not enough. There's a lot of rubbish lead magnets out there. It's got to feel like buying the product's got to feel like the natural next step. So I often talk about it like a handbrake turn. So people sometimes, they have a lead magnet and it sounds good, people download it, and then, but actually buying the product feels like, it's like, oh, like, what's that got to do with the thing? So one that's worked really well is we had a 30-day content plan, which we did last year, and actually until we paused them the other day, it's still running now. So it's a 30-day content plan. So basically I've planned your content out for you. And interestingly, I'll just show you this. This is the kind of thing that works, is you, I'll just show you the page in my planner. So this page in my planner is a 30-day content plan that is in the front of the planner. That's what the lead magnet looks like. So people get a 30-day, it's not the same one, but they get 30 days as a freebie. And they're like, oh, okay, so if I get this planner, I'm going to get more of that. The fill in the gaps templates, basically the bonus with this year's planner and content kit was 1,000 for fill in the gaps templates, just like that. So if people have had a go at using the templates, they're giving them a go. But I mean, that saved me a lot of time. And I had actually had testimonials from people saying, oh my God, I'm using this testimony, you know, these templates to save me so much time. I'm going to get 1,000 free with the kit. And she's also giving 400 as a bonus for the rest of the year. So it's like, if you can give people almost a piece of what they're going to get with the paid product, does that make sense? Like, this is obviously what I've learned over the years, having, published lots of different lead magnets. But that's the ultimate goal. And I think when people go wrong with lead magnets, often it's because the lead magnet doesn't really link closely enough to the product. So like I say, it feels like a handbrake turn. And something, actually, you said to me earlier about what do you think of the trends, and I was saying to one of my clients earlier, I think that email nurture sequences, I think they're on the out. Like, I think we just can't be bothered to read them now. And I've found that, like in the days, I remember, I don't know if you used to follow Pat Flynn.
Pat Flynn. He's
Flynn,
not fat at all. He's way thin, but go ahead. Yeah.
He used to be fat. There's a whole fat baby thing with him. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. That's a whole other thing. The fat baby thing.
I remember reading that he had like a 45-part email nurture sequence, and
my goodness,
back in the day, that kind of thing engaged people. But I realized, actually, I used to spend a lot of time writing nurture sequences, and I think, actually, no, just give people something really good that really links closely to the product, and then just sell them something. Because I don't think we need to nurture. It's interesting. I don't think we need to nurture people as long as we think we do if we've got the lead magnet right, if that makes sense. Anyway, there's loads in there. Like, I hope some of that makes sense.
Yeah. So, by the way, it works because we got our friend Jim going. I just got the free 30-day social media content plan from Janet's website. So, live video works, everybody. So that's a great. And then
live video works.
These numbers aren't geeky, by the way. So no. he's liking the numbers.
That's why I count them.
Yeah, that's why he likes it.
So you mentioned that these are some numbers that you published, and you said that there's more to come, and there's a sneak brief. Tell us where our audience can sign up to get a copy of this report. And this is a report of your experience launching this product. Where can we get that report?
So if you head to my Instagram, which is @JanMurrayUK, and you DM me, it sounds a bit weird, I promise it's not, but we've got a very clever messenger bot that delivers stuff to you. If you just DM report, my messenger bot will add you to the wait list. So I'm due to publish it next Thursday. Obviously, with current events, we'll see how things go next week. But I'm due to publish it next Thursday, and I'm also going to do a class, which I'm going to invite people to. And I'll basically take you through day by day what we did each day. So I'll show you what I posted on social media, what emails we sent. I think you might have even seen, Grace, I published the conversions, the open rate and the click rate, and I look at every email title and everything. It's fun. It's not for everyone, but it's fun. Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of really useful stuff in there for people to take away if they are interested in geeky digital launch stats.
I think you just identified our audience, and that's Jan Murray, Murray, Murray UK. So for those of you listening on the podcast, go to Jan Murray UK on Instagram and slide into those DMs.
So and you put in a report, right? You report.
Type report, yeah. Okay. You can have a nice play. We use ManyChat, and you can have a nice play with our messenger bot, because it will show you all sorts of things and send you all sorts of things. Yeah,
gotcha. And just we'll take this break real quick to talk about once again our sponsor of the show, Ecamm. Janet Murray actually said that they're gonna be sponsoring her event coming up later. What's the date of your event? Is it next year or this year?
It's this year, November the 1st and 2nd.
Okay. Wow, that's coming. This year is flying by, folks. But you can find out more about Ecamm at socialmedianewslive.com/Ecamm. They are an incredible tool. So much fun hanging out with them in podcast movement. So we're going to finish up the section because we don't have a ton of time left, but we're going to be talking more about creating this content strategy because, I've been in this business for a long time. You couldn't tell because my voice cracked. It sounds like I was in puberty. But I've been doing this for a long time, and it can be overwhelming. There's a ton of changes, but it's really, really important that you create, this marketing strategy before you dive in. And Janet talked about geeking out about the numbers. It's not all just because you like numbers. Sometimes it's out of necessity. So I want to talk about, your planner and your kit. It gives marketers templates you can use. But, how do you know what type of content you should be creating, especially as we, planning for 2023, which is coming up, is TikTok still going to be the big thing? Is, now YouTube is having podcasts built into it. So how do you know when you start planning out and looking at your kit, buying your kit and your planner, what type of content? I mean, you almost have to look kind of in a crystal ball, but what are your advice on that, Janet?
Well, I think it really depends. I mean, I love TikTok. I haven't been posting regularly on the moment just because of time, but that would be my preferred platform if I had, I wasn't geeking out over email stats all the time. But I think it can be a bit sort of dangerous to say, oh, this is the platform that you need to be on, because I don't really think that matters. I think it's important that people are comfortable on the platform that they're on. Because I could say, oh, get on YouTube or do a podcast or whatever, but if that isn't, you don't enjoy creating it, or you find it hard, like a lot of people find video hard. So I think it's possible to be successful on any platform, and the one that that you're most likely to stick to, and it's probably better to do one well than do loads not very well. But I think for me the key thing is about knowing what to do when. So I posted the other day about this whole business about just tell me what to post where and when. And this is this thing about these 3 types of content. So in times when you're looking to build your audience, so say for example, now I got a big bill and I was really stuck for money in my business, or I wanted to invest in something. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't be any use of me sitting there creating Instagram posts or creating a new email lead magnet, especially if I hadn't done it before. For me, actually, I'm quite experienced, so I might be able to make some sales quite quickly. But if you don't have a big email list, or you don't have this big audience, then it's more high touch, I think. So it's about knowing what. So for me, content strategy isn't even about. It's not about what platform you're on. It's not even really about what you're posting. It's about doing the right things at the right time. So as I said before, I've had clients who've come to me who've tried everything on social media. They've paid for expensive coaching programs. And like, what am I doing wrong? I still don't have clients. I'd be like, you need to go to events. Like, you need to get yourself out and meet people. You need to and there's me, the digital marketer, saying like, go to some networking events, whatever. But for me, it's about doing the right things at the right time. So when you've got time, so if you've got enough money coming into your business, you've looked after your cash generation, then you can focus on list building and podcasting and those kind of things which take longer to convert. But in times when you need to bring money, you've got to focus on the cash generation stuff. So people often say to me, well, if I'm doing a launch, how many posts should I do like this, and how many posts should I do like that? And it's, or if I'm planning out my content for a month, for a quarter, like how many of these types of posts? It really depends what you're doing. So I talked about in August I did a lot of audience growth content and nurturing content because I knew it was leading up to a launch. And then during last week, it was just all like sort of cash, sales mm-hmm. content. So for me, it isn't about sitting there going, all right, well, I need to do this many weeks, or, that. I think for anyone who's doing digital marketing, once a week, you should be putting out something which is audience growth, like something which is, in an ideal world, a podcast or a show like this, or something that can live on forever and people can find forever, that you publish on your website in an ideal world. But actually for me, it's about doing the right things at the right time. And if you're stuck for money, sitting there doing Instagram posts is probably not the best thing for you, or creating an email that might take, a year for people. I have people who buy my planner and then they're on my email list for years, right, before they make that first purchase, or they listen to the podcast for years. So does it make sense about kind of like, it's about doing the right things at the right time? And
right.
See, I think that is so refreshing, because so many social media gurus and stuff say you've got to do this and you've got to do this, but they don't talk about the bottom line, like you were just saying. Like, when you need to make money, you shouldn't be, doing something that it'd be like weeks or months before money could come in. Right. You can't just go live and all of a sudden expect, to get business. There's different parts of your business. I think that is really good, and I think that's something a lot of people don't want to hear, but I think it's really important. Anyway, Sorry, that was a mic drop moment. So even Gary says, great chat today, folks. So Gary knows what he's talking about. So he's
Janet, I think we haven't even gotten to half the questions, because this has been such a great conversation. I think we're going to have you on for a part 2 after your conference, because, You got to focus on that. But like afterwards, we'd love to have you on again we need you. Like we have so many questions.
Well, I want to do a shout out too, because when I went to Janet's conference, I loved it because she makes the speakers like, you can't come in and just leave. That's not how it works. She makes you sit down. It was like a big mastermind. And I felt like as a speaker that I really was able to help people. Like she almost had like a speed dating round where they would sit at your table. And I mean, it was top notch. And I thought it was very valuable, not just for me as a speaker, but also as the attendees just loved it. So if you're in the area and you haven't done it.
How do you find the conference? Let's share the link. Do we just go to Janet?
It's Courageous Content Live. And my assistant Julie is in the chat. She's been sharing some links.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and I think Jeff's right. It's a community event. It's quite hard with it. We're slightly bigger than we were before, but that's what we're trying to do, is create a community. And like, we don't want to have an event where it's like the speakers get up on stage and then they just get off and then they go off,
right,
and they sit in the green room and stay away from everybody. Like, they're part of the community. Like, and as Jeff says, I'm quite strict. I make them I make them work. But also I feel the speakers get more from it as well, because you get more. It's like we were talking before. We're at Podcast Movement. You need to bring money into your business. Get yourself to an event, meet people, make connections. Like, I've never spoken at an event. I've never attended an event where I didn't come away with opportunities in business. It's just what happens when you get out and meet people, isn't it? And I think as much for the speakers as well as the delegates. Yeah, but it's the UK's, I'd say it's the only kind of like proper big, content marketing event. Ecamm, we are live streaming it. Shout out to Ecamm. They're our sponsors, and they're going to be running a session on content repurposing and how to kind of come up with a really great workflow, where you can take one piece of content and turn it into loads of different ones. Captivate, who I'm sure our friends at Captivate, they're our audio sponsor, because I have about 1 million podcasts and they host my podcast. So they're going to be running some sessions, not only on starting a podcast, but growing a podcast as well. And I really love seeing people come from abroad. So please don't. Sometimes people say, "Oh, is it okay if I come?" If it's like, absolutely. Like, we love people to come to Newcastle, and it's an amazing place. So
it was a blast when I went. So Julie here has put up the link, so you can find that here at this link at janetmurray.co.uk/courageous-content-live-Newcastle. So janetmurray.co.uk/courageous-content-live-Newcastle for you guys listening on the podcast. So Julie, thank you so much for putting that up. I'm going to call an audible because we only got 10 minutes left, and we're going to have Janet back. But I wanted to talk about, I think you wrote a post about it, but since we just came off Podcast Movement, and it just was top of my mind, was like, you quit your old podcast and started a new one, and you almost kind of rebranded. And you I thought I couldn't find the post, but I remember you talking about it, and it was a big deal. Why did you do that? And how stressful was it to stop a podcast and start another one, especially because your other one was pretty successful?
Yeah, my other one was one of the UK's top marketing podcasts. I think I just got a bit bored with it. I think I was complaining. No, I wasn't bored with it, but I think I was getting to the stage where if I was feeling a bit bored of it, I thought my listeners were, I wasn't doing the best for them. I felt that the episodes were too long. I felt I needed to do, more concise interviews, but also the way that my business was moving, I wanted to focus much more on content planning and strategy, and which I've been able to do. But I think I was moaning to you, Jeff, wasn't I? Was it you that I was moaning to about how every so often someone finds the old podcast and then it starts overtaking the new one in the charts? I'm like, stop subscribing to it. I still don't know if it was the right thing to do. Like, I talked to some of my podcasting friends, and I remember talking to Colin Gray, who's a friend of all of ours, I think, and saying, I just feel like I want a clean break. I could have kept the same RSS feed and kept it on the same one, but I felt like I wanted to start something new. And in a way, like, I've experimented quite a lot with the format. That is probably the whole thing about my brand, Courageous Content, as well, and that's another reason for it as well. It is about just being brave enough to go out there and go, well, do you know what? I don't really know where this is going, but this is the kind of content I want to create, and I'll find. And that's exactly what's happened. Like, I've experimented, I've tried different things, and I feel I've kind of, arrived at kind of where I want to be. But there is a kind of important branding point there as well, because I've got the Courageous Content Planner. I have this event, Courageous Content. I'm getting on a bit now, and there might come a point where, maybe I need to step away from it. And when you have a personal brand business which is tied to your name, somebody else could theoretically have the Courageous Content Planner or have the Courageous Content Live event. It's not it's a way of doing things. It's a process or whatever. I mean, it's very much informed by me, but to have a business and products which are all tied to your name, I feel like that's probably not the most sustainable business strategy going forward. Like I said, I'm not getting any younger, and I don't want to have to. I enjoy working, but I don't want to feel like I have to work till till whenever. So I don't know if that makes sense. I wanted to create a brand that could kind of exist without me or alongside me, if that makes sense. It wasn't dependent on me being there all the time.
Well, if you're getting up there, then I just need to go lay down and somebody can start shoveling dirt on top of me, because I wouldn't even think that. So, well, Janet, this has been incredible. Once again, I want people to know that they can go find out more about your planner by going to, and we've been putting it up all day. It's Janet Murray, and that's MURRAY.co.uk. That's where it's the planners everywhere. Like, she's branded it really, really well. But you also have the opportunity, if you want to save some money, is you can actually, I'm going to pull that up right there, enter the code SOCIAL50. And that will give you a discount and some other cool stuff. So make sure you do that. But you can also get her free planner like Jim did. He went and got that and was able to,
the free 30-day social media content plan from Janet's website.
She's, if you want, so just go sign up anyway, even if you don't want it, but you got to learn from her. And like, if you just watch how she does it, watch her sequence, not sequence on her emails, sign up for all that stuff, because she does a really great job. I've been following her stuff for years, and she really, 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 really does. You mentioned Colin Gray. We got him coming up shortly on the show. So that's going to be an awesome one. He is from, is it Ireland? Scotland. See, I can't tell. It's just so hard. Yes, I always get those mixed up. Anyway, so that's going to be a fun show too. But Grace, do you have any final words for us?
No, just tune in for us next week. It's Friday, same time, Friday, September 16th, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. As Jeff mentioned, the wonderful Colin Gray will be joining us. He will be talking about podcasting as we leap into podcasting. Going into that event, we have some of the other speakers, and he was at Podcast Movement too. So there's a whole week or a whole month of podcasting.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Janet, thank you so much. And everybody make sure you go get her planner. Sign up for all our stuff, and we will see you guys next time. Don't forget about our sponsors, Ecamm, socialmedianewslive.com/Ecamm. And they also have their own podcast called The Flow, which is very, very interesting. And so we'll play a little commercial about that. But thank you guys for watching. Appreciate all you. Appreciate you, Brian, Julie, Gary, everybody who watched and left comments today. We appreciate you. We wouldn't do this without you. We'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.